Thank you all for coming to celebrate Janice's 70th birthday. If you did not bring food or an expensive gift, please notice the exit doors to the right and to the left of me. 70 years of life is a wonderful reason for celebration. This beautiful woman is not only my mother, she is my best friend. She was a go-getter and started waiting tables at 12 at the local truck stop. She told me because she liked clothes. She was athletic, and in the 9th grade, she was a majorette and a drum major in the marching band. She was also a gymnast. One day, she was on the rings and fell and broke her back in 2 places. She spent the next 6 months in a hospital bed on morphine for the pain. The doctors that had examined her determined she would be paralyzed. Her father was determined that his little girl would not spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. He found a doctor in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, that agreed to help her. To the amazement of the hospital staff and her family, she was up and walking in a few hours. She would then have to wear a back brace for a year to fix her spine, only taking it off long enough to bathe. She was not a quitter. In her 20s, she worked on electric trains in Erie, Pennsylvania, something women did not do back then. She forged a path for other women. One night a fire started and she pulled 21 people out from the fire and used her jacket to save a woman that was engulfed in flames. She was a hero. Another time an air jack malfunctioned. She fell 20 feet backwards and hit her head, and she had 90 stitches and was in a coma for 3 days, but she survived. She was married 3 times and had 2 children, a boy and a girl. Yes, I know, the math does not add up. Her son gave her the gift of 3 beautiful grandchildren, 2 boys and a girl. Despite her difficulties in marriage, she worked hard and raised her family. She spent many years waiting tables and bartending to pay the bills. She was a caregiver. When her parents fell to ill health, she moved home and ran the family business and cared for her mother, the same woman that had scorned her and treated her as an outcast most of her life. She had the love and kind reassurance of her father. They were always close. She cared for her mother until her passing without help from her other siblings. She also cared for her father until his passing as well. I don't remember a time she did not work hard, always caring for those around her. She ran the family business until she sold it about 15 years ago and moved to West Virginia to be with her family and grandchildren. She would open her business on holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving and welcome anyone without a place to go for a hot meal at no charge. My most vivid memory was at Christmas. Many faces I knew, many I did not. I saw a man in a worn leather jacket, covered in tattoos. He even had them on his face. He was sitting alone, eating by himself. I sat down across from him, and he looked up puzzled and said, "Aren't you afraid of me?" And I said, "No. Have you met my mother?" I smiled and introduced myself, and he told me his name was Snake. My mother had taught me to look beyond appearances. Everyone deserves kindness and respect. When I had my motorcycle wreck at 30, she swore at me in the hospital and made me promise I would never ride another motorcycle. Of course I promised. The look of terror on her face was enough. She spent every moment she could with me while I was in the hospital. I was not able to use the bathroom upstairs. I stood naked at the kitchen sink with my walker as she gave me a tepid bath and dressed my wounds. She would empty my toilet chair and complain to any visiting company about how bad it smelled. Mortified and red-faced, I was thankful she was my mother, rough edges and all. My superhero calls 911. It was the 4th of July. I was working. It was about noon, and I received a call from 911. They told me my mother was being transported to the emergency room, unable to breathe. That is not the bad part. It was during the 4th of July parade in Ripley, one of the largest in West Virginia. By the grace of God, the ambulance got her to the emergency room and started treatment. She was then transported to Charleston, and they had confirmed she had had a heart attack. The next day, she underwent surgery to have a stent placed in the back of her heart. I sat in the waiting room alone and prayed. I knew God was with her. A doctor came out with these huge white teeth and showed me the x-rays. In broken English, he said, "All fixed. See before, not so good. Now, good, much better." So when I saw her later, I made her promise not to have another heart attack. It was only fair. I can't ride motorcycles anymore. Because of your tenacity, strength, and courage, we have spent many wonderful years with you. You have endured good and bad times with grace and perseverance. Tragedy can break you or make you stronger, and through all odds, you are here. You are full of love and determination. You are a fighter, a survivor, a mother, a grandmother, but most of all, you are my best friend, and you are a gift to our family. I wish you many more birthdays. Thank you for being my mother and best friend. You will always be our superhero. Happy 70th birthday. Thank you.